Good evening. Let's begin the meeting of the Council Rock School District Policy Committee. It's 7 p.m., October 27, 2016. I am Committee Chair Edward Tate, and with us are Council Rock School Board Directors Kyle McKessie and Mike Thorwart, and this committee is staffed by the able Matt Fredrickson. We have in front of us a short list of policies for review. They are posted on the district website under board policies. The agenda for this meeting is posted under policy committee. And as we go forward with this process, this will be our SOP that we will post policies for review with the markup for the changes on the district website at least 48 hours in advance for people to review, along with the agenda, of course. And we welcome the public to these meetings. We have joining us Board Director Denise Brooks. And we're good to go. The first policy that we're going to take a look at is policy 000, local board procedures. The markup that we have from the Pennsylvania School Boards Association, which is assisting us with this process, is very limited changes. And I'll give you all a few seconds to take a look and see. I know you had a chance to look at these in advance, and if you have any feedback on
changes are in bold, right?
This first policy, correct. The changes are highlighted in bold.
The stack that you got also includes a cross-reference. So you have the old policies in one packet, the new policies in the other packet, and at the top of the new policies is a cross-reference that PSBA is included. So if there are questions about where things are and which policies they're in there, for example, policy 4.1, you'll notice is absent. And the reason for that is it's going to be replaced by a different policy to something other, but it's in the cross-reference, so if you need that information.
So the change in policy 000 is it's 000, not 9, as near as I can tell.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
And that is the extent of the changes. So if anybody has no other comments on policy 000, we'll move to policy 001, name and classification under local board procedures. And it's pretty straightforward. Does anybody have any concerns? I think the markup says it added the 4 digits to make the zip code here, 5 plus 4. That's it. Any comments? No. Okay, thank you. Policy number 002, under local board procedures, authority and powers. You can see the markups in bold.
And again, they're very generic.
Yes. Minor language changes. This is an interesting policy, that line about the powers of the Board of School Directors are not vested in the individual board member. No such individual is authorized to act on behalf of the board. It's interesting. Any comments on 002? None. We'll move on to policy 003 under local board procedures is policy manual functions. And again, minor changes in wording.
They're not all going to be this easy, I think.
No,
No,
I don't think so.
Yeah,
We'll have a little discussion on board policy manual probably. You see the changes?
They're easy to see.
Oh, right here, sorry.
That's all right. There's no changes of substance, it's all language.
Words.
Yep.
and we're still doing first read and second.
On policies, this constitutes the first read.
This is the first read.
Correct.
That's what I was looking for.
Good. Thank you. Denise, Kyle?
I'm sorry, I apologize, I skimmed all of these, but
Yeah.
I didn't have a full chance. Just reading on this executive, it's easier to read on the skim.
Right,
Can you
right.
scroll up a little bit, Matt?
Sure, Marvin.
No, I mean, okay, scroll down.
Other direction.
Yeah.
The other up.
The other-
Back up. Right there, that's good.
This is good? Okay.
Give me 1 second.
Sure.
One of the things that Lauren told me, she's the woman who's doing this for us, is that she's also checking for procedures. She wants to make sure that there aren't any procedures in the policies, they're just policies, that the procedures should be in administrative regulations. She said a lot of school districts sneak procedures into the policies, so that's one of the
And
things.
that's not legitimate.
It's one of the things she's editing for as well. So.
That's good. These markups also reflect Dr. Fraser's markups too.
Correct.
And Matt has in his hands Dr. Fraser's notes on these policies. And they,
For example, leadership, love this word.
yeah, yeah. I should have stated at the outset, Dr. Fraser's not with us because he's ill. He offered to call in and we told him that we didn't think that was necessary.
Not for this group.
No, and Matt has his markup, so Dr. Fraser's reviewed all these. Okay, we'll move on to 004, local board procedures. The title is membership. There's an additional new sentence. The superintendent shall have a seat on the board and the right to speak on all matters, but not the right to vote.
So the game show.
That's actually how we've been operating, so
Yeah.
I think it's not a change.
Yeah, and there's a little bit more specifics about our requirement to file a statement of financial interests required by state law by May 1. Some more language about temporary vacancy due to active military service. Now, these changes, by the way, from the PSBA are to correspond to changes in state law.
Yeah, these aren't just wish lists, these are to reflect.
Yes.
I know that one, the military one is fairly.
Yeah, it looks like there's changes in state law,
Right.
unfortunately required by current events, but I'm not editorializing.
Yes.
I'm laughing at the expenses
Oh.
section. It is my understanding there was a time, many, many years ago, there was gas reimbursement.
Ah. Interesting. Does anyone have any comments further on this one.
The only thing since expenses would come up is just because we're reporting, we don't get paid.
No.
We get to expense it.
Nor do we file expenses.
Nor do we file expenses, so there's nothing new there.
All right, we'll move on. Next is,
Is
yes,
there any point in saying the student advisory board does not speak at every monthly meeting? It's the last, at the end.
okay.
Well, they will now.
They
It's
usually,
rotate schools.
it's usually October through May, or sometimes June, but it's definitely not
Oh, you don't mean the
September.
summer. At any monthly meeting,
Right.
we're gonna catch them every month now because we're only having one school board a month. So
Well, they only came once a month. They alternated months
Right,
anyway.
that's true, yeah.
But, I mean, but they don't come in July.
So do you want to add something in there about during the academic year?
During the academic year. Does that meet the need? Okay, good, thank you.
So, I'll just have to change right here.
Does that work for you? You look like you're still thinking.
No,
No,
because
he's-
only because Hannah did it. I don't even know that they do. I mean.
Well, they don't do it in September, you're right. And I don't think they start in
I think it's 4
September.
times, you know, like, I don't even,
Can I ask, why is that in there in the first place? It's just our policy that, I mean,
that's an interesting point.
is it because we've always done it? I mean, why?
I believe this is language that is standard for PSBA policy, right?
Right.
Yes, this is not our language, this is.
Because, I mean, I do know, the local school board, every school that I know people on, they do have that. I never really thought about
Do you want to make changes? Can you make changes right?
He's on the PSBA
Okay.
site.
Well, the other alternative is to simply make it looser.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah, that's.
Not committed to take out the monthly, obviously,
Yeah.
and not committed
At
to
the pleasure
academic
of the
school.
board.
Just shall be added at board meetings. Yeah.
Sounds good. What did you make it at the pleasure of the board?
I haven't done anything.
No. Clock's ticking.
And this is happening live, if you're watching it on,
Would you like me to just say at the pleasure of the board?
or just
That
take
makes
out monthly. Just shall speak at board meetings.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah, there you go, brilliant.
take out the monthly.
Less is more.
How are you finding the system map?
This is interesting. I'm finding it interesting.
We were a little disappointed that it doesn't show markup.
Wow.
It doesn't show deletions and changes, but this is, this is a very low-cost system, and it's the way they do it, and, you know, it's expedient for them. I mean, we're paying something in the range of, I'm thinking it's something in the range of 6.
Yeah.
So the what?
The cost of this contract is very modest,
Well, the cost for them to do the, I think it's like $6,000.
yes,
It's very, very expensive.
so,
But this site is included with our PSBA membership, so there's no additional cost for this. We're actually doing a demo at Cabinet next week of the full-blown site. And then if there's enough buy-in, we'll do a demo for you guys. I'd like to move from the board docs that was homegrown to this. This has a lot of bells and whistles that you pay
Can you
for.
search in it?
Oh my God, yes.
Archive,
Winner.
search,
yeah, so that'll be nice. We no longer will have to maintain the electronic files of our policies. PSBA will do it for us.
When these are done, when you go to our website for policies and click on it, it's going to link you to here. That's the idea.
Brilliant.
All right.
All right, shall we move on?
Here we are, 5.
We're on 5, organizational. Organization is the title.
Only issue I have with that, don't go any further. Don't we usually ask Rob, the solicitor, to?
Where is the
And
president
that's
pro
okay.
tem?
It's okay.
It's in there, okay.
It's not in here specifically, but that's okay.
That is a legit, okay. That's all I wanted to make sure, is we weren't overriding our traditional policies unknowingly.
Right, our solicitor's gonna look at each one of these.
Yeah, once we're done with the first read, then Rob will get a chance to.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, thanks for asking.
Because that doesn't necessarily show the way we do it in that first paragraph.
Yeah, it's an interesting point.
And I should have emailed you ahead of time to ask you that, but we're going through this very simply.
Okay.
Well, it just says that
Wait.
temporary president shall be elected from among all of the members of the board.
That's my problem, because we usually elect Rob Cox as our temporary president, and he's not a member of the board.
Right.
That's my issue.
Oh.
That's, I mean, that's,
I understand.
we could, by doing it this way,
Well, you could say a temporary president shall be elected.
right, because of the,
Yes, I agree.
remember,
I
that's
agree
the
with
part,
you.
that's the problem I have. That works, we like that, right?
Yes.
Shall be
Do we
elected.
need to
just-
be more elaborate than a temporary president shall be elected? That would be a question for Rob.
It would be a
presumably.
question for Rob.
Yeah, we could strike it and
We could change from to by. The temporary president shall be elected by the whole of the members of the board.
Sure, that would work too. That's very,
Is that
Yeah.
And that's accurate.
yeah, it's really accurate, so.
instead of from among, it'll just be by. Great. There was something that caught my eye about committee meetings, further down.
Yeah, they struck, committee shall not include a majority membership of the board.
That's good. Each board committee shall be convened by a chairperson who shall report for the committee, prepare minutes of open committee meetings, and be appointed by the president.
Actually, the truth is, the minutes are not really made by the board members ever.
Right.
Recorded, no.
Well, but I don't know if that's what they mean by minutes.
Technically, this counts as minutes, but I know because we've had that conversation in the past with
The
regard to
recording
the.
does.
Yeah.
Yes,
Got it. Great.
This is a
that
record
doesn't
of the
mean this is
meeting.
clear.
Yeah, that doesn't make this better, that's right, yeah.
Sorry, where are we?
Down in board committee. There you go.
Right, well, that sentence is,
You could,
each board committee shall be convened by a chairperson who shall report for the committee, period.
and that would probably be it, right?
And then, I mean, do we
Well,
just
it is
need to make-
appointed by the president.
Oh, okay. And be appointed by the committee. You just
Right.
need to prepare minutes of open committee meetings. Because we're recording all committee meetings now, correct?
That's
Right.
correct. And the administrative liaison has always been the one responsible for the minutes of the meeting. Except for the policy meeting, but,
Oh, that's my point, so,
Well, so you're preparing minutes by the recording on behalf of the chair. So
Correct.
I don't think it needs to be changed.
Okay.
I just make sure.
You don't want to just strike that in?
What about minutes?
I don't have a heartburn either way.
I just think it's misleading to say that the chairperson prepares the minutes.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to have something in there,
Instead of prepare, how about ensure the minutes or something?
Ensure preparation,
You know?
ensure that,
or is it just a separate thought that each committee will have minutes available on the website or something like that?
Would it be worth looking into the technicalities of the fact that this does constitute minutes as well? Would it be worth adding a sentence in there? that all of the meetings are recorded.
Because if you go onto our website, under the school board tab, to the committees, when you hit the link to minutes, it doesn't take you to the YouTube channel. It takes you to the minutes document that was actually prepared for each committee. So there are records, there are minutes of these meetings other than these recordings. But in either case, it is not the chairperson who prepares the
No.
minutes.
No.
So. I mean, it's
So, yeah,
it's not
so-
a major
no,
point,
no,
but I just think.
Yeah, no, so we'll strike that phrase out of this sentence. The phrase prepare minutes of open committee meetings should be struck. And we could add a separate sentence that says,
Could you just say, be responsible for the preparation of minutes of open committee meetings?
yeah, that's where I was headed earlier, sure.
And then that just, we don't have to strike the sentence. we use-
Be responsible for the preparation.
Which falls under the liaison anyway.
But I mean, I just think it would read better if it was that the committee is responsible, because that would imply the administrative liaison or the chairperson. Whereas the way this is worded, it puts all of that onto the chairperson, which I just don't think in effect actually happens.
Okay. Strike that, yeah, let's strike that
What
sentence.
do you want?
We'll strike the phrase prepare minutes of open committee meetings from that sentence. And we'll have a standalone sentence that says minutes will be prepared for all open committee meetings.
I think that's probably even enough right there.
Even though it's a passive voice, which I hate, but minutes will be prepared for all open committee meetings. As opposed to closed.
Right, and then it's sufficiently vague because the minutes could be the recording, or the minutes
Right.
can include also the actual write-ups that, like, you know, I know Academic Standards has an actual write-up. Doug often has additional, you know what I mean?
Who does the academic standards right up?
It's usually Barry.
Good?
Great, thanks. Okay, we're moving on to 6. Mr. Thorpe, would you like to read number 6?
No, this is a long one.
It is 8 pages.
Yeah.
This is
One of the media.
under local board procedures, policy 006 is on meetings. This is where my printer started failing.
We've got lots of.
Yeah. Let's see this thing.
Nothing jumped out at me except for the notice stuff. Is that all
Right.
consistent now? I like that you struck CRTV. I don't like that you struck in such notice at the Chancellor Center. I'm not sure, where would they have been posted here?
On the door.
On the door?
Yeah.
Right next to the government's policy.
It's like Martin Luther King did. Martin Luther did.
Okay.
Nail it to the door.
Please get a little more attention.
Yeah, that's right.
Everything else follows state law that I could see.
Yeah.
I mean, we have notice and
And oh, that's interesting. Public participation listed, limited to district residents.
yes. I don't think that's new though.
No, but that's,
But we don't limit it to district residents.
we
We
could.
could.
I'm sorry, going back to notice for 1 minute.
Yeah.
What are interested parties? Number 4.
I would think somebody who was there giving,
If a meeting was recessed,
like overnight,
right,
um,
and you were gonna reschedule it, you would contact all the people who were previously there.
we'd make some attempt to. I'm trying to think of a meeting where we had, like, if we recessed the last full day kindergarten meeting where there was a lot of people here and then not everyone got to talk, we should,
Have like
Make
a
an
sign-in
attempt.
sheet or whatever.
yeah, make an attempt to let them, that would be an interesting party.
There is an interesting section added about minutes. Speaks to tape or audio-visual recordings shall not be the official record of a public board meeting.
Right, that's why I questioned that.
All right, I'll make a note to
Yeah, let's check that one.
But-
check that.
but
Rob has stated that many
I know.
times,
What's that?
What?
that audio visual recordings don't constitute minutes.
Don't or do?
Do not.
Right. so
I
that-
thought we could do that.
They're not the official record.
Are you remembering what I'm remembering? There were discussions, I forget what
Yeah,
the
yeah.
issue was, and I'm not disputing.
No, I'm not either, but
pulling my hat on one way or another.
I'm a little surprised.
Well, but that's why I was confused, because I remembered having a conversation with,
What?
I'm trying to decide if it was Barry and Joyce,
Solicitor Claire?
but where, because they were still making minutes for academic standards. And I said, well, we relieved of that because of recordings, and they said no. But that's an easy question to ask.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can get a resolution to that. In which case, we have to go back and, on the other one. No, that was fine. No, that was fine.
No,
We were,
talks about-
yeah, we were sufficiently vague in the last one.
To
Well, I think it just allowed it
copy you.
to reflect our practice.
Yeah, all right, good. One note to Rob Cox. And 3 minutes. Okay, does anybody have any further comment on the meetings policy?
My only question was, in that last section on committee meetings.
Yeah.
A majority of the total membership of a committee shall constitute a quorum. But we don't actually have official membership in a committee, do we?
Yes, we just did that. Every one of them we
I
announced.
thought that was like unofficial.
Or informal, yeah.
To ensure that there was always enough people here.
Let the record show that Mrs. Thomas has joined us. We're making good progress.
Well, I won't impede it.
No,
I-
that's
That's not
not
what you meant?
what I meant. I thought.
Yes, it was.
Pleased to know that we're well through the agenda.
I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah, that's a good question. All right, so what's the potential impact of that?
Why do we even need that?
They put it in.
I believe it's in the law.
We're having,
Well, there's no notation next to it.
That's good.
I don't know that we need that.
I mean, I understand past practice does not necessarily predict future. But I mean, there were times where I had committee meetings with just myself or one other person for, you know, like, so I just don't,
Yeah, no, we, up above, we define a quorum as 5.
right, so I'm just saying that I would like to see if that could just be eliminated, I don't
Yeah,
know
there's no need for
why
that.
you need to do that.
You
And
okay
we're
with-
having a solicitor review this one anyway, so.
Do you want me to remove it, or?
Kyle, Wendy, are you okay with striking that sentence?
I am.
It would just confuse the issue, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
That actually didn't appear in the original.
No, that was a new.
It was added by PSBA, yeah.
But I think in many districts, board members are actually assigned, because they don't have situations where every committee is open to the full board,
Right.
so that.
Yes. Agreed.
You go with 6?
And next, that was number 6, we're done. Next is 6.1, administrative review.
No. 6.1.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And I don't see a single markup on it.
This has been our policy.
Yes. So we're done with 6.1. So we're at number 7, the policy manual. And we have had some discussion on this. There is no markup on our policy manual policy from PSBA.
Right.
Do Dr. Fraser have any comment, man? On 007, 007. It does, interestingly, if I read this correctly, it does not specify that a paper copy needs to be. Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
what does copies of this manual shall be numbered? Isn't that implied printed hard copy?
We have a room full of.
Yeah, like, I thought we talked about
keeping
that
one,
language, like keeping one on hand, but
one
not,
printed
Right,
copy
for
on
the
hand.
public.
Yeah,
so, is that?
Don't we
fair?
publish these online?
yes, it's also specified in here that it must be available on the website.
Yes, I got it 5 minutes ago.
And for the record,
But I guess
First one.
that is part of,
Mr. Grupp has joined us. Thank you, Mr. Grupp.
referencing these.
Matt, you said we have a room full of these if the public would show up and ask.
Number 007. You've
I can't
updated
leave
the old
with
and
one.
the new.
We don't provide them, that they can
Not to
review.
my knowledge, unless it's a way to know request.
What's the question?
I got.
Or,
it. I
policy
was-
manual.
We used to provide them to board members.
To the public.
To the
To
public?
the public, not, board members all get one.
In
We
hard.
we don't, you can't walk in here and demand a copy of, a printed copy of the board policy.
There is supposed to be a printed copy, there was supposed to be a printed copy available for review.
Yeah.
Not to
And,
take
and
away.
Matt said there's a room full of them if you need them for that.
Yeah, the problem with them is always that they're never up to date.
We're gonna fix that.
Yeah, we're just not gonna have them print on demand.
Yeah, and we were just discussing our policy manual when we're done. Well, as we approve new policies, they will be placed on the PSBA website, and that's, we will link there. So we will no longer house our own. Yes,
You missed
Denise
it.
asked the same question. Matt said, very searchable.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's great. No, I'm glad you asked. So that's number 7. Does anybody have any comment on number 7? Pretty straightforward. So the policy manual will be available to the public via the website and in hard copy here at Chancellor Street. And the last policy for discussion.
So for policy 7, I'll come back to it.
Yeah,
We had the old and we have the new, so what are we saying?
Good news line.
The new's fine, that all these things don't happen?
yeah,
We're just using a different format. It's the same, there's no markups if I'm not.
There are markups in bold if
Right.
there are markups, but there are none for this particular policy.
That's what I mean.
Is the last policy we're doing number 011?
Yes,
And
Well-
is it 009 on my copy? Is that the old? That's the-
yeah,
First
I'm
of all,
looking.
011 was never a board policy previously, and this is a piece of crap. This was something that PSBA wanted to put through a couple years ago, and this board looked at it and said, we're not interested in doing it. It's, you know, that, and it says at the top, this board policy supports the principles and governance of leadership. Well, we never adopted those. So that's right off the bat, a pile of crap. And that was a PSBA push through that this board objected to and didn't bother with. I have to tell you, I'm not a big fan of Joseph Heller's book, Catch-22 was great. But when they made fun of the loyalty oaths that everybody had to sign, that's where I look at this as the same concept. So I have no interest in their board policy 011.
Which Robert chimed in on this afternoon and agreed with you. Did you see that?
No, I was kind of busy today.
That's why I'm making you aware of it.
I didn't, was
We
that an
did adopt
email?
this at NBIT.
Okay,
Say what?
We did adopt it at NBIT.
I don't know.
No,
I
but-
am a neutral person on it. It doesn't do me any harm.
I feel like policy links to the school code and laws, and I believe that I practice many, if not all of these things, but if it's not linking, I just don't think this is what a policy is.
I don't feel passionate about it either.
I agree with Denise. I mean, this is kind of nebulous.
Well, my whole point in looking at it today was, and my review of it today was, I wasn't sure I'd be here tonight. Having arrived just in time. I'm concerned that their review of our policy is going to be to accomplish means that they set out, not that we set out, and that this sneaking in, I make air quotes for those people maybe listening at home, kind of goes to that, which is, I didn't quite get what that was about. So,
I didn't see the email, your point's interesting, Jerry. I didn't see the email from Dr. Frazier.
So Dr. Frazier said, this is not something that is anchored in any kind of statute, and as such, we can choose lawfully not to adopt it. It is a matter of great law.
Well, does anybody feel that we should adopt it, or that it's necessary?
I don't care for it in this environment.
I don't see that it adds much value either, so. Hearing no support, then we'll strike it. Thank you. Did we finish on 007? Are we satisfied with the new policy? Okay.
That's not a new policy. That is that's the original policy.
You're right, you're right, you're right.
well, 007, so how does,
Yeah.
but see, it's, and that's my only problem with it, which is that the board policy will be considered, and so we will, a copy of the policy manual shall be maintained at the administrative office and shall be available for inspection and access by citizens. So we're going to, there's no talk about making it available online.
Yes, it's specified,
Where's that?
Right above that paragraph.
maintained on the district's website.
So, I mean,
Well,
does
that's good.
copy
Thank you.
necessarily mean paper?
That's
Open
what I
to
was
interpretation.
trying to get.
I think that's, if someone comes in and wants to, we could set up somewhere with a laptop.
And
Right, that's what I mean.
As far as I'm concerned, yeah.
And that's where I think that I would just take out in that sentence that says a copy of,
Right, Reg, you could just say the policy manual shall be maintained in the
All right.
administrative office.
and so if someone came in and said, I don't have a machine at home, I need to see a printed copy, yeah, we'd have to do that. That's not a huge
All right,
burdensome problem.
You just want to make it.
the policy manual. Wonderful. Okay,
Well, last question on this too, just because this has been an irksome thing for me and it doesn't, you know, they're just rewriting the policy now. our policy manual right now, as it exists, is not searchable. Even the electronic.
Right, we talked about that. On the PSBA website, it'll be highly searchable.
Fully searchable.
Okay. And does anybody know, does it, and I think you and I had a small sidebar with Robert about this. Will it contain a glossary so that all of our terms are defined one place and consistent throughout? Because we have terms that are defined in one place that are then defined alternately in another policy, potentially, such as what's the definition of a student? What's the definition of a guardian? Sometimes those change, and
Pretty sure we have the ability to add that.
and I would like to.
I'll verify that.
I'd like to consider that anywhere we're defining a term, where possible, I'd like to pull that term out of there, put it to our glossary. Our glossary becomes another policy, if you will, which is the policy of glossary policy. And so because I have problems when we've had hearings for expulsions and whatnot, we hinge on words. And we're taking away students' rights, and we need to make sure the words are correct and consistent.
If we're gonna do that, Jared, doing it starting now, makes
Yeah.
that's not a problem.
All right, we'll look at creating a glossary.
Matt, you seem to think that was doable? The fact that it's highly searchable should make that
Yeah.
highly doable.
Yeah. All right, then the last one. 011, principles for governance. and
That's what we
leadership.
just
pushed
that away.
Done,
Oh.
my friend.
That was the one we said, no, that was PSBA's.
All right,
Wendy's question was why we have 009 in hand, but not on the paper. I think that was just an overprint.
No,
No, we have two
you weren't
stats.
here when it,
Old policies and,
The
Yeah.
old policy of board.
But 09 becomes 000.
Oh.
Jerry, on the stack of the new policies, like a cross-reference, and it'll explain where certain policies have gone, and like,
Other stacks.
4.1 is gone, it's been replaced by 2 something.
Thank you. Well, anytime I can come to 3 minutes of a meeting, let me know.
These were the easy ones.
yeah, they'll get harder. So that constitutes the first read.
So can you just, how is this, you're gonna, they're going sequentially?
Yes, except as needed. If something comes up, we'll jump ahead.
we'll address it.
and
They,
address it.
Are almost finished with the 100s. So what's going to happen next?
No.
So what's going to happen next is I'm actually going through the 100s that she's completed, and we have an administrative liaison for each of the policies. So they'll go to the administrative liaison to do the cross-check against the old policy, the new policy, and anything that may have changed educational in the environment. And then Ed will be notified that they're ready for board review, and then we'll bring them to the committee for review. We're gonna try to do 12 to 15 per month.
Can I ask if at our next, I would have done it for now, I've been a little busy. There are a number of policies which are just, there's no point in some of the policies.
I have a short list of policies that we're looking at eliminating.
I think I gave you some of them before, yeah.
Is this your handwriting? Lesson plan, calculator, independent study, board approval?
Is it my handwriting?
I think it's you. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Human development, field trips, board approval.
They're gonna be removing some of these, and all of the 3, 4, 5, or whatever it is, the ones that identify CREA, Prescott and CRA, those will all be combined into employees. So we'll have one set of policies for employees.
I guess what my question was about was if we could ask just by title that people review those so that next time we meet, maybe we could get those out of the loop so that when we're doing 12 or 15 a month, maybe we'll get a half-month jump by, if we can agree that some of those are
Just
silly.
read and chuck some of these.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if everybody doesn't agree, we won't do it, but if a bunch of people look at them and go, yeah, it doesn't really.
I didn't look at your whole list, but the couple I looked at that you were, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, I think I had written that list in a meeting here.
Yep.
Okay.
In our May meeting.
So if we're gonna get 12 to 15, can we get them before the weekend?
Absolutely, that was my oversight. Oops. Had something going on.
These were easier, but just in general, that's.
Who are the committee members?
Mike, Kyle, and Jerry, and myself.
And
And
it's,
you, anytime you want to
No, I want to be completely optional. I'm only limitedly value add in this environment anyway. Wordsmithing and that kind of thing. Philosophically, I'm good with.
Is,
Right.
now,
Well, let's, I think we've
You,
completed our agenda.
public comment?
Any public comment? No public?
I have one, go ahead, it's on.
So let's, we can adjourn the meeting
Any
and.
board comment?
Board
Just
comment
making
for the
sure.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank